If you talk to your friends the way you talk to yourself, would you have any friends? Probably not. So why do you think it is alright to be compassionate and kind to every other person, but negative and critical of yourself? Hello intentional woman, welcome back to my channel. I know that for today's video you're not seeing my face, and that's because I have been a bit under the weather, but I still wanted to catch up with you this week. Ladies, the way you talk to yourself or your inner voice is your coach, and that voice can either motivate you, support you, empower you, or it can be negative, criticizing you, undermining your self-confidence, and literally stopping you from reaching your full potential. The fact is that we all have negative thoughts and feelings. The problem is allowing your negative self-talk to stop you from leveling up, reinventing yourself, or manifesting the life you want. Now, before we talk about how to deal with the negative self-talk, we first have to understand the power of your self-talk and what causes negative self-talk. Now, chapter 1. The power of self-talk. The self-talk is that subconscious automatic conversation you're having with yourself throughout the day. It is a combination of your stream of thoughts and beliefs that forms your inner monologue. And this has the power to affect your feelings. And as we all know, most times we make decisions based on our emotions. And your inner voice can be positive, which means it is constructive, kind, loving, compassionate, and focused on self-improvement. Or it can be excessively negative, belittling you and pointing out your faults and mistakes. If you're constantly saying to yourself, I'm behind time, nothing ever works in my favor, my business will fail, I'll never attract a quality man, I'll never get married, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, then your inner voice is negative. It focuses on the bad, constantly creating a sense of failure, which makes it easy for you to feel heavy in your spirit and body, leading to bad health, bad habits, and destructive decisions. One example I love using to demonstrate the power of self-talk and how it shapes your reality is the example of having a business idea, which is something we have all had at some point. Say you have a business idea, and because your inner voice is constantly negative, you start to tell yourself that your business idea will fail or nobody will buy your products. And from that thought, you start to feel fearful, and then you decide to give up on your business idea without even trying. So from this, you can see the connection. You have a thought, it affects the way you feel. From your feelings, you make a decision, and that decision changes the path of your life. In this case, your dream of being a business owner dies. The sad truth is that it could have gone the other way only if your inner voice was a supportive voice that is beneficial to you. You have to understand that the battle of your life is fought and won or lost in your mind before anything physically manifests in your life. So how you talk to yourself must be kind, loving, and beneficial to your level up journey. Chapter 2, Reasons for Negative Self-Talk. You have to understand that negative self-talk does not just pop out of thin air. It is learned behavior, a habit that has been built over a long period, and it has many causes. But for this video, we will look at 2. The first one is experience. This is the root cause of negative self-talk. If you've always been criticized, talked down on, had numerous past failures, childhood trauma, or you constantly experienced things that chipped away at your self-worth, then it becomes nearly impossible to have a loving inner voice, because what you've heard or experienced most of your life has been negative. Noticing that your love life is one disaster after another, or that you've always had to fight and struggle for everything you want in life, can make you believe that this is the way things will always go in your life. The worst part is that these experiences may not even be yours, but they can still affect your self-talk. Like noticing a generational pattern of unmarried, unsuccessful, or women in abusive relationships or marriages in your family. Your mind can use their experiences to create fear and anxiety about your future. And if you're not careful, you start to believe that that's how your life will turn out. Now, the second reason is comparison. If you want to feel inadequate and dissatisfied about your life, or if you want your inner voice to increase the volume and amount of negative self-talk, compare yourself to another person. And not just anybody, but compare yourself to someone you feel has a better life than you. You will instantly notice how for hours or days, your inner voice will tell you you are a failure and that you cannot do anything right. All your faults, flaws, and mistakes will become magnified in your head, and your self-worth and self-confidence will suffer. You will start to put yourself under pressure and start setting unrealistic standards and expectations. And when you're not able to meet those standards and expectations, you will then feel like a failure, which can then lead to more negative self-talk. I am telling you, it is a vicious cycle. It is a cycle that social media, peer pressure, and expectations from society all contribute to trigger in ourselves. A cycle that took me years to break out of, because there was a time I was dissatisfied with my life, deeply unhappy and emotionally volatile. And the reason for this was because I constantly compared myself to others. So being aware of what's causing your inner voice to speak negatively is essential to how you'll handle it. Chapter 3, Understanding Your Negative Self-Talk Pattern. So now that you understand how powerful the way you talk to yourself is and what can cause negative self-talk, let's look at the most common negative self-talk patterns so you can begin to understand how your mind interprets your experiences. There are many of them, but I'll share 5 negative thought patterns that are so common and relatable. The first one is catastrophizing. This is when you expect the worst outcome in any situation. It is where you make a little mistake at work and your mind blows it out of proportion and makes you believe that you will lose your job, or where you have a simple misunderstanding with your partner and your mind starts to tell you he will break up with you. This pattern of negative self-talk creates so much anxiety, stress, and fear. The second one is mental filter. This pattern is when you completely focus on the negative, even when there are tons of positive things to look at. As a content creator, an example could be that I posted a video and 9 people liked it, but 1 person did not, so they left a negative comment. My mind automatically filters out the 9 positive comments and focuses on the negative, making me scared of posting a new video, which means I am not pursuing my goals and opportunities because I am terrified of another negative comment, even when there's a chance that other people will leave positive comments. You may not be a content creator, but I know that this particular one is something we've experienced in some form, where we focus on the negative and the fear from that leads to our failure. The third negative thought pattern is overgeneralization. This is where one thing happens to you and your mind tricks you into believing that it always happens to you. A typical example is asking someone for help and they say no. So your mind starts to tell you that nobody in your life has ever helped you. Number 4, jumping to conclusions. Surprised? Don't be. This is a negative self-talk pattern and it usually happens in 2 ways. Mind reading and fortune telling. So mind reading is when you conclude without evidence that you know what others are thinking, usually in a negative context. An example is thinking that your friend must be angry at you simply because they are quiet or moody, which can lead to misunderstandings because you will react based on that assumption, and this can strain your relationships. This particular pattern fuels self-doubt. Fortune telling, on the other hand, is believing that you will fail or struggle with something before you even start. It is deciding to lose weight but believing that it will be hard. So if coincidentally your running shoes get damaged, rather than simply getting a new one, your fortune-telling mind will interpret that as a sign that losing weight is hard. The worst thing about fortune telling is that you become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because since you've already decided it'll be hard, you will behave and also interpret any minor obstacle through that lens, which means you'll end up not losing the weight. Number 5 is personalization. And this is when you unfairly blame yourself for situations that are completely beyond your control. An example is blaming yourself for traffic or blaming yourself for your partner cheating on you. This can lead you to shoulder guilt that's not yours to bear in the first place. It can make you overlook the complex nature of a situation or even how external factors may have influenced that situation. And this can eventually destroy your self-esteem. And the final thought pattern is the all or nothing mindset. This is when you see things in extremes of black and white, perfect or disastrous, with no gray area or middle ground. An example can be deciding to start a diet, and somewhere along the line, you had a piece of junk food. Instead of acknowledging that happened and then going back on your diet, you decide to give up because since you didn't maintain a perfect diet, there's no use continuing on it. Another example could be that you have a to-do list for the day and you could not accomplish the first task due to whatever issue. So you give up and refuse to do the other things on your list. You allow one thing to ruin your entire plan. This particular thought pattern often leads to you setting unrealistic standards for yourself and others, which results in frequent disappointment and frustration. It can make it hard for you to easily forgive yourself and others when they are not perfect or things are not perfect. Now that we've built the foundation that I'm sure has helped you understand your inner monologue better, it is time to move to the best part of the video. Chapter 4, Solutions. What can you do to regulate your negative self-talk? When I realized that negative self-talk is a habit, it made me so happy because it meant that like any bad habit, it can be broken and a better habit of positive self-talk can be gradually built. But first, you have to understand that the steps I am about to share with you is not a magical wand you can wave and your negative inner voice will immediately disappear. You have to daily and intentionally do the work of reconditioning your mind. All the steps I'm about to share with you will fall under the 3 C's. That's catching, checking, and changing. Let's talk about catching. Some people are aware that their inner voice is negative, while others are not even aware because this has been their default for the longest time. So the most important thing you have to do is become aware of what your inner voice is saying to you in certain situations. What are the automatic thoughts that come into your mind when a particular event happens to you? What are the feelings that are usually associated with it? In essence, catch your thoughts. And there are ways you can do this. Number 1, meditation. You may think this is an abstract thing, but it is not. It is simply you taking a pause and becoming aware of your inner thoughts and surroundings. Second is journaling. If something happens to you, write it out and ask yourself how it made you feel and how your mind interpreted the entire event, including the feelings that came before, during, and after that experience. That is why I shared the different negative thought patterns. So you start to retrace and figure out which one you are currently stuck in. Journaling your thoughts is such a great emotional release. So make sure that you do this if you have not been doing this. Catching your thoughts also means watching out for silent triggers. This is usually when you suddenly experience a mood swing. 1 minute you're happy and suddenly you are extremely sad. When this happens, I can assure you that something has silently triggered you. It could be a post on IG or someone said something in passing that you didn't even take to heart, but your subconscious latched onto it, and a few hours later, that thing automatically changed your mood. An example could be that you're scrolling through social media and you find out that your friend is engaged. You are happy for her. You leave her a comment saying congratulations and you keep scrolling. Your subconscious latches onto that, and because your inner voice is negative, it starts to tell you that you don't have that yet, you are behind time, nobody will ever love you, and you will never get married. And without anything happening on the outside, you start to feel depressed and fearful and sad simply because your subconscious has been the one in the driving seat. When this happens, here's a quick tip. Retrace your steps. Find out what happened that may not have seemed significant at the time, but has essentially influenced your mood. Once you figure it out, you will then know how best to handle it. The next C is checking. This is where you check those thoughts against reality. In essence, you begin to challenge those thoughts. How true are they? Because your thoughts can be true, false, or somewhere in between. Then ask yourself why. Why are you thinking this way? Is it trauma, fear, experience, comparison? Again, use the negative thought patterns I shared. Checking also means finding out if your mind is rehashing a past event or rehearsing for a future one. Rehashing means it is stuck in an embarrassing event that happened and it's refusing to let go, leading to feelings of regret, self-doubt, and failure. If it is rehearsing, it means it is telling you what should happen or what better not happen in the future, which will lead to anxiety and stress. And if you do the checking and you realize that your negative thoughts are true, ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario? What can you do to control the damage? What would you say to someone if they were having similar thoughts? Think of how you can manage this negative thought that is both true and distressing. Now, if you're a Christian and you believe you're experiencing a spiritual attack on your mind, a great way of checking your thoughts is weighing it against the gospel. If the enemy has planted a thought that says your business will fail, then you have to challenge that thought and ask what door it came in from. Because the Bible tells you Yahweh will bless the works of your hands. If the enemy plants a thought that says you'll never get married, again, challenge that thought. Is that what Yahweh promised you? Oh no, because the Bible says, search in the Lord's book of living creatures and read what it says. Not one of these creatures will be missing and not one will be without its mate. The Lord has commanded it to be so. He himself will bring them together, which means at the appointed time, his spirit will bring you and your partner together. So you take that thought and you weigh it against the gospel. When you master these two C's, which is catching and checking, you'll be amazed at how your thoughts have been controlling you, and you'll feel so empowered because now you know what to do. And the final C is changing. This is when you begin to build the habit of positive self-talk by gradually renewing your mind. What I usually do is I visualize my inner voice as a person who has been starved of positive and loving words, and she looks dehydrated, hungry, and ugly. So with every positive, compassionate, loving, empowering, and kind word I feed her, she begins to get healthier. She starts to glow and blossom until she feels light, beautiful, and unstoppable. There are different ways you can do this. The first is therapy. If you can afford it, then do it. Work with a professional so you can begin to unravel the deeper causes of your negative self-talk. You'll be glad you did. The second is for you to adopt a high-value mindset. So a high-value mindset is solution-focused, and this is helpful when you've checked your thoughts and realized that it is true. Instead of focusing on the problem, train your mind to focus on the solution. Let's say you catch your inner voice saying, "I'll never attract a quality man," and you check it and you realize that it is true because all your relationships have been with dusty, horrible men. Being solution-focused and changing that mindset could mean recognizing your attachment style, taking responsibility for the type of men you've chosen in the past, and deciding to heal and elevate your life so you can attract better. The principle of having a high-value mindset is always asking, what can I do to make what I want possible? The third way you can feed your inner voice with positive talk so it begins to grow and be beautiful and unstoppable is by reading, watching videos, and listening to podcasts that target your pain point and renews your mind. If you are prone to negative self-talk, then you want to be very careful about what you feed your mind. Any social media account that makes you feel less than is not one you should be following. After watching this video, when a profile pops up, ask yourself, is this triggering my negative self-talk or is it helping me build a habit of positive self-talk? Be very intentional about what you consume and also search out social media accounts and books that will help you renew your mind and break free from negative self-talk. The fourth thing you can do is choose an alternative and positive thought. I used the word choose because if your inner voice tells you your business will fail, you have the choice of saying no, it will not. Who is in charge here? Your emotions or you, which is a higher self-aware version of yourself? Note the difference. It was a thought, but you create an alternative and positive thought by confessing it with your mouth. This is essentially you affirming it. The way this plays out in my life is when I want to launch a program. My inner voice will say, don't bother, nobody will register. When this happens, I do not just think people will register. Oh no, I open my mouth and I say it out loud. People will register because it meets a need. Another example could be that you catch your inner voice telling you that your friend is doing better than you. You check it and it's true. Changing it and adopting a positive thought can be acknowledging that she's doing better, but then reminding yourself that instead of being competitive and insecure, you can learn from her. You can also choose to focus on your achievements while also reminding yourself that everyone's time is different and what success looks like to her may not be what it will look like to you. She may have gotten a promotion at work while you have just learned how to break free from negative self-talk. These two things are different, but I assure you they are both amazing accomplishments. And finally, pray. As a Christian, you have to understand that the easiest way for the enemy to wage war against you is through your mind. And if you're not sensitive enough, you won't even realize it is happening. He knows that from your self-talk comes your thoughts, and those thoughts affect your feelings, and those feelings affect your decisions, which ultimately shape your reality. He knows this, so he will wage war and turn your mind into a prison. And the sad part is that you will be the person with the key. So when you find your spirit heavy, your mind cloudy and filled with negative thoughts, pray. From experience, this is the time you won't feel like praying. And if that is the case, put on Christian music and let it play so that it begins to chase away that heavy spirit. Speak in tongues if you can. Rebuke that heaviness in you. Lie on your bed and cry, because crying is also a prayer language. And when you're done crying, say amen. Yahweh will take it up from there. I am going to end this chapter by saying this. I am in no way promoting toxic positivity. Oh no. If something traumatic happens to you, you don't have to force yourself or try to run away from your emotions, all because you want to practice positive self-talk. You can feel that emotion. You can allow it run its course while you do what you can. The difference is not allowing that phase to last too long. You have to know when you are becoming stuck so you can force yourself to get out of that space. So continue to do what works for your mental health and emotional well-being. There's a reason I always end each video by saying be kind to yourself. This is because we can be very critical of ourselves. And I'm hoping that after watching this video, you will intentionally build an inner voice that showers you with love, encouragement, support, and motivation. In the description, I'll leave a link to a negative self-talk worksheet that you can use to consciously train your inner voice. It's a sample, but you can use it to create one for yourself. And that's it for today's video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them with me in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because on this channel, I share content that helps you level up and grow into the best version of yourself, one video at a time. Trust me, you'll love it here. As always, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.